This is Bill Schaefer, owner of the Hyena Art Gallery in Burbank, California. Currently, he's half tipsy, riding his cart through the sidewalks of Burbank. I met Bill almost randomly doing one of the crappiest door-to-door jobs imaginable. But I noticed this collection of artwork, and I came back.
We probably do more shows than any other gallery around in the US or anywhere. We show every 15 days, we feature a new artist. And we get all walks of life that come in here. Like we get, famous directors, we get not so famous directors that come to appreciate the art. We get musicians, families come in, a little bit of everybody.
I love obscurity in art, as any lover of art for a long period of time realizes it's the unfamous works, the films they don't talk about very much, the hidden gems, are the ones in a way that can speak more closely to you than the ones meant to ensnare the masses. But I'm talking about films. I'm talking about cult films. The buried gems that usually don't fit into any real classification, but still manage wildly loyal fan bases. And I began to think about this question, from horror, romance, comedy, and drama. What classifies a film as cult more than anything else?
I think cult films don't try to be cult films. It just kind of happens where they maybe low budget and it just has something really unique to it that people gravitate towards. You never know a movie's a cult film until 10 years later when it has this following around it, like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. At the time, people just thought it was this wacky movie and started going to see it. It's still, a really popular cult movie and never really hit mainstream.
You've seen all kinds of movies, but you've never seen anything like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Let's do the time warp again. Let's do the time warp again. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is wonderfully weird.
The best definition of a cult film, the all-encompassing cult film definition, to me would be something that not a lot of people have seen and not a lot of people know about. But those that know about it, know about it.
Tom Devlin owns a special makeup effects studio, 1313 Effects, and worked on the Troma release of a film called Poultrygeist.
I believe, when somebody says the name cult film, it's very much that. It's a film that a cult of strong followers support. And it might not be a movie that ever made it to theaters. It might not be a movie that anybody's heard of, but there are films out there like Joshua, Terror Tunes. These are movies that a cult following has grabbed onto and embraced. I think a classic version of a cult film that most people can relate with is Rocky Horror Picture Show. It failed miserably when it did its theatrical run, but it still lives on today, 30 years later, playing midnight shows. That is a cult film. It has a cult following. The Evil Dead, which was Sam Raimi's first film, that is a huge cult film. They made that movie when they were 19 and 20 years old. They spent $200,000 on it maybe, and it still sells t-shirts at Hot Topic.
This kind of looks like your old girlfriend.
This is Matt Kennedy, founder of Panic House. He brought pinky violent cinema to the United States.
I think that typically a cult film is a film that was underappreciated in its day. Not a film that was made intentionally bad, and I think that there are people that intentionally try to make cult films these days, and they fail.
This is an entire genre classified as cult, and probably one of the main inspirations for more famous films such as Kill Bill. This is the legendary filmmaker Jack Hill. He's here with Sid Haig talking about a racing film called Pit Stop from 1969. It stars a young Ellen Burstyn in it, but you've probably never heard of it.
Hey, bang, pop, boom, around the south turn, into the north turn. Look, Count.
Oh, come on, Ed, don't be such a snob. I think figure eights are fun.
Yes, sir! They've got a fence.
Really straightened them out, didn't we? All that purse money and not even a scratch on that famous plum purple pearl flake paint job. It's called Pearl Plum.
Los Angeles, California seemed to be the perfect place to start my pondering of this question that no one seems to be asking but already assuming they know the answer. Los Angeles has its share of independently owned video stores and independently owned theaters, most of them still in business because they cater to a type of film lover that's looking for something unique, which in the world of art and film nowadays is a risky commodity. Some film lovers got into the business because of these obscure films, made by these obscure film companies, made for people with obscure tastes. Here I am outside of Eddie Brandt's one such store.
I know they started in the 70s. It wasn't a video store, obviously, because they didn't have VHSs then, so they... what did they do? They sold memorabilia, photos, and whatnot. Eddie Brandt was well, now he's retired, but he was a musician. He played with the Spike Jones band. He wrote, a number of songs, and he worked at Hanna-Barbera. He created the cartoon Frankenstein Jr. I don't know if you remember that. That was in the 60s. I think he created The Impossibles, which was like a superhero band.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Impossibles.
He created Beanie and Cecil with Bob Clampett.
The Beanie and Cecil Show.
Hey Claire, how many films do we have?
How many movies do we have?
Yeah.
About 100,000.
100,000. Give or take.
We have 82,000 videotapes.
82,000.
And then we have 16,000 DVDs, although the DVDs overlap onto some of the
tapes.
This is one of Full Moon Studios' annual horror road shows. Charles Band spent the night telling stories from set, auctioning off props from their films, and playing games with the audience. Some of the money went to charity, for films average audiences have never heard of. But then again, so is the fate of these films, and the joy to be discovered. But back to the question that's been bothering me. What makes a film into a cult film?
We don't have a porn section. It's a family business, but the sexploitation is good enough for our customers. Good enough for me.